Hello, I'm the 3D Printing Smith. This is my M3D. I have had it for a couple of weeks now. It arrived in 3 days from the US, which if you live in the UK, that's impressive. Usually we at least wait 2 weeks plus another 2 weeks in customs if you're lucky for it to actually arrive, especially with something like a 3D printer could print guns. Ooh. The first thing that I happened to print off was in this pearl, they call them inks, but let's call it filament. This pearl filament it came with the printer. It's not the one I chose. I'm assuming they had a surplus of pearl because it's a weird colour. But it's growing on me. This is at 100 microns, which came out very nicely. You can see a little bit of backlash here, but that came out very nicely. I also do a lot of role playing, so I printed these little guys out. One thing you will notice is there's a little, you may not notice, it depends if it comes up in the camera, but some of the black has wicked up the lines in 3D printing, which if I was clever and didn't print this in clear, you wouldn't have noticed that as much, but as you do. I then decided to push the limits of my 3D printer. It can print in 50 microns, which if you don't know, that is very titchy. And this is really smooth. You can barely feel the texture on it. It's also very light. I printed this hollow. It still took quite a long time to print. I think this was 12 hours. But yeah, I can't fault that for the amount of detail. As I said, it is very smooth to the touch, and you can see the layers a little bit, but you would probably not know this was 3D printed from the offset, except for the bottom, which came out a bit rough. There's a lot of support material still on the bottom, mainly because this object, for some reason, came in at a little bit of an angle. So it's printed support to deal with that. I did not alter it that way. That was the way the STL was. So, but it's on the shelf. It's very nice, little titchy object. I'm currently working on this spaceship from the Sci-Fi Channel. I'm probably going to print this one again because I've had a little bit of a problem with the black filament, mainly because when I got it, it didn't have a spool holder, so I had to print myself a spool holder, obviously, and the winding on the filament got tangled, so every time I tried to print something, it ended up snagging and mucking the print up. As you can see here though, I have a larger filament. This is not an M3D filament. As you can see, the M3D filaments are these little half a kilo things. But they do have the cheat code, which is nice, and that works for me quite well. This is a Hatchbox filament. It cost me £20 on Amazon, and with my Prime it arrived the next day, so that's always good, except for I was out, but neither here nor there. I did have to turn the temperature down, as this prints at 210 rather than 215, but it's been doing me very nicely. I printed one of the 3D Brenchies, which is something that you kind of have to do when you 3D print things. As you can see, I'm still having problems with backlash. This has been a repeated problem for me. I don't know if that's just me being an idiot, or something in the firmware, or when my filament rammed against the head of my printer because it jammed. I'm not sure, but this came out very nicely and got some overhangs that are not something I would normally print, so I was very happy with this one. And the last thing I have before we go to the time lapse is this Umbreon. Again, this is printed in the Hatchbox. I quite like the Hatchbox black. It's a little bit darker than the M3D. The M3D's got a bit of a grey feel to it, where the Hatchbox is definitely more black, which is a plus. I'm probably going to paint this anyway, so it doesn't matter, just because of the filing. But if you want something that prints in dark black, the Hatchbox is a lot more true black, as to say. Again, a little bit of backlash there, but there we go. So we're going to go back to the time lapse, and I'll show you what happened. Here's the object in question. Some of the top layer did collapse, and oh, that's fine, and it's only a little bit of a blemish. But the main problem I had was, as I eventually figured out, it said not to use any infill, which I wasn't going to do. But for the interest of the video, I thought I would give it a go, and don't know if you can hear that, but so you know, with 3D printing you can always print another one, and I've played around with some of the settings. I've had problems with some of the finer details, especially with circles. Again, don't know if that's me being an idiot or something with my printer, but there we go. And this one, it spins, but again, that hasn't done that to me before. Yeah. So one more time, I print on a little bit higher resolution. These were at 350 microns. This one was at 200, which from what I've seen with other people, 200 is the preferred resolution people like to print at. And when I picked this up the bed, off the bed, this instantly started moving, and this spins like a dream. There's no strands or anything blocking it up. It's still not truly circular, but it does what it's supposed to do, doesn't it? It spins. So I'm going to put a link to this object in the description in case you feel like printing it. And if you have any tips for backlash, that would be great, because that is something that has been giving me issues with some more of the higher detailed stuff, like as you see here. Yeah, it's not fun. So if you have any ideas of solving that, I have used the M3D troubleshooting guide to help me through that, and that got this one working, so I was happy with that. But I would like something more circular, something a little bit more accurate. So yeah, I should have a video in less than a week hopefully, and I'll see you next time.